So the Mini 4K is supposed to substitute the Mini 2 SE as the entry-level product. But the Mini 4K compared to the Mini SE, that adds 4K, 24, 25 and 30 FPS to the recording capabilities, where the Mini SE was basically just maxed out at 2.7K. It also adds slow motion capabilities like 48, 50 and 60 FPS, 4K 30 FPS, 2.7K 60 FPS, 1080p 60 FPS, and it's supposed to support 2x digital zoom in 4K. All of them at a bitrate at 100 megabit per second. Let's just plug in a fresh battery to make sure that everything is like it's supposed to be. One short press, one long press. And before we take off, we want to make sure that we are recording in the best possible resolution that this drone can do. So we put it up in the 4K and we are using 30 FPS. I'm not using any filters today because I want to show you exactly what the footage looks like out of the drone without any additional glass in front of the camera. It is a little bit windy today, so I will just make sure that we are not running into too much issues here. But this is how the footage looks like. 4K 30 FPS. Without any filters in front. You can play around with all the other resolutions, where some of them you will have a chance to bump it up to 60 FPS, which will give you the possibility to introduce a degree of slow motion. Let's just bring it down here. So, see, I'm down here. So if I just bring the drone down here, just for a short while here, we can stop the video here. And I can actually also show you that you have, when it's in 4K 30 FPS, you have the option to introduce 2x digital zoom. So that's a nice option if you want to film objects but don't want to get too close by. It is digital stabilization, so you will lose a little bit of quality in the process. Let's just do a comparison here. So if we take this, so let's do 5 seconds here. So this is 5 seconds without any zoom. So now we are putting in some zoom. Zoom, 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 zoom. And it's being tossed around out there because it's actually pretty windy. So now we can move down to 2.7K, and that will unlock some additional frame rates. So let's just try out the 60 here. And we can bring the drone a little bit closer. Like this. And then we can start the recording. And I can run by. So you can see now I can slow this footage down by a factor 2 or 50%, and in that way get slow motion. So these are basically the options that you have when you're talking video. You can bump it down to 1080p as well if you want to save some space on your memory card, but that will not give you a higher frame rate as that one maxes out at 60 FPS as well. You can take photos with the 12 megapixel sensor that's in here. You have the option to take a single photo like this. You can do a AEB where you get one image that's overexposed, one that's underexposed, and one that's neutral exposed. You have the option to do time shots. So in this way, the drone will take an image for every 5 seconds. So and you can just stop that randomly here on the button if you don't want that to continue. You have the option down here to select if you only want JPEG images or you want JPEG plus RAW in case that you want to do some post-processing by yourself. That's very useful. I normally use JPEG plus RAW to give me the maximum possibilities in post. Apart from this, we have access to a panorama mode here. That will help you expand the photo capabilities of your drone. So let's just start by taking a single photo here, just for the comparison. So that's a single photo. Then if I jump into the panorama mode, I have the option to do 9 individual images and stitch those to one single image. And that will expand sort of the range or the capabilities of the sensors quite a lot. Let's just do that and make sure that we have the JPEG plus RAW. So now the drone will automatically work, the gimbal up and down, take 9 photos, and then they will stitch it to one single photo. And I will just show them here side by side, and you can see you capture a lot more of your surroundings if you're using that technique. Other options for the panorama is that you can have like a 180-degree panorama that basically takes 3 images next to each other. So takes one image, turns, takes one, and then it takes another one. It's a little bit more than 3 images. I guess that's why it's called 180, because it takes enough images to cover the full range of 180 degrees. And in that way, you can generate a panorama image that is 180 degrees. But you can also do like a spherical image. Probably not going to work, because we have such a high wind as it is right now. But it basically takes images in a sphere and try to cover a full spherical image. The drone stitches those automatically, and you can use those directly on Facebook. They look a little bit odd when you see them at once, but once you get them onto Facebook, they will be like just a square, and then you can zoom around and explore the images to see what it is that has been recorded for a single image. This drone is not going to revolutionize the drone business with a lot of advanced functionalities, but it does have all the base functionality that you need to do something really, really cool. It might take you a while to learn to fly all the fancy stuff that you are seeing people are doing, but you do have access to some pretty simple flight modes that are available on the drone. And those are called QuickShots. If we go under QuickShots here, you can see that you have basically 5 options. You have a drone, you have a rocket, you have a circle, you have a helix, and you have a boomerang. And all of those can be used for different purposes. But let's just take the boomerang just for the sake of it. And you can see that I'm already selected. And the only thing that I need to select is sort of the direction that I want to go. So we just keep it at that. So right now it's executing an automated QuickShot. And in this case, it's a boomerang, so it basically does what a boomerang does, is that it goes out and then it comes back. And it's super nice. The boomerang is, of course, kind of self-explaining that because it's a boomerang, it will come back to the same position where it left. So let's say that I want to do a drone, so I take a drone. And I need to select myself here, and I want the drone to go 40 meters back, and then I press start. So what happens now it backs away while it ascends, and then it's recording automatically at the same time. So it's really, really ideal to use these QuickShots if you're a beginner. So now it's doing its thing, and then once it's done, it's being blown away. The drone will simply return to the position where you started the QuickShot. So that's a pretty smart feature, I must say. It's a shame it's such a bad weather today, because I could do a lot of nice recordings, but I don't have the time for it because the drone is going out to you guys tomorrow. So you have these 5 QuickShots that you can mess around with. I have a few things in the user interface that I want to show you, because you might notice that I have something on the screen like this histogram, and I also have these lines. All of that can be enabled from within the camera menu. Here I have the option to set some grid lines that will allow me to make better composition of my footage. I have also the overexposure warnings, which are the zebra stripes that you sometimes see on the screen. Let me just show you those. If I do the manual exposure here and I on purpose overexpose it, you can see zebra stripes are starting to appear on the car and everywhere. That is basically a tool that will help you to determine if the exposure of your image is correct. The same with the histogram that you have over here. That one you can also enable, or you can disable it, and that's a graphical representation of the exposure of your image. And what you basically want, you want an image where this chart that is in inside this square here is sort of centered towards the middle. That will give you a nice exposure where the dark areas are not too dark and the high areas are not clipped, which is pretty hard to recover if you work with the footage in post. These are basically the things that you're getting with this setup. There's also an option if you have like low battery on your phone, which most of us smartphone users have all the time. You can jump under control, and if you jump under down here, there's actually an option to enable phone charging, and in this way you can use the big battery that's inside the remote to give your phone some extra charge so you don't run out of battery in the middle of an operation. Apart from that system, you're not getting access to all the fancy bells and whistles here on this, because this is an entry-level drone. You can see that we are running the 1.13.2. That is the DJI Fly app that I'm currently using, and I'm using the firmware 01070400. Those will likely change once you order the product, as these are pre-released versions of both app and firmware. So those are the features that you'll be getting with the DJI Mini 4K. So with the GoPro out of battery, luckily I have another camera on the drone that I can use to finish off this video. If you have any additional questions for the product, then let me know in the comments below and I will do a follow-up video. And you can see the pricing listed in the description below, as well as purchase links where you can pick it up. I hope you liked this video. If you did, then feel free to give it a like. If you didn't like it, feel free to press the dislike button twice. Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you on the next one.